Okay, come on. Tell me what are the kinds of share capital that you know of? What you know of?
Share capital.
What is authorized share capital?
Authorized which the capital which is authorized
What
to
do you
be
mean by the
given.
capital which is authorized? When I say authorized share capital means what?
Authorized.
It is that is the maximum number of shares. Please make your notes along with me. It is the maximum number of shares you are allowed to issue. So what do I say about authorized share capital? What is authorized share capital?
It is the maximum number of share which is allowed to be given.
Which is allowed to be issued. When I say it is allowed to be issued, it means what?
Which can be given to the public.
Which can be sold to the public.
Yeah,
Okay. So when it is a public limited company, they issue shares. What do?
they issue
They will
shares.
issue shares. When I say a public limited company issues shares means what?
Uh, they issue share for money.
Okay, so when a public limited company issues the shares, that means they are increasing their capital. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
capital has what balance?
Uh, correct.
Credit balance.
Credit.
Credit balance. So whenever you are issuing shares, your share capital will be credit. Okay, and you should also remember this that your share capital will be credit only with face value, not above
Okay.
the face value. Face value of anything that you call. So when I'm talking about authorized share capital, can you tell me what is authorized share capital?
The maximum number of share you can issue.
The maximum number of shares you can issue during your lifetime. Are you with me?
Yes.
When I'm talking about issued capital, what do you mean by issued capital?
Uh, the capital which has been issued,
Okay,
which shares
the
which.
amount that you actually, or the number of shares that you actually issue to public. That means you actually offer to sell. So, say for example, I am allowed to sell to the public 100,000 shares. Okay, so 100,000 shares would become my authorized share capital. But I actually offer to the public 500 shares. So 500 shares will become my issue share capital. Are you with
Okay.
me?
Yes.
Anas, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by subscribed capital?
The public has bought
Which
the shares which
actually
public has.
public has taken. So actually the shares which the public has bought is called the subscribed capital. So maybe
Okay.
I issue 500 shares, but public has taken 250 shares. So 250 will become my subscribed capital. Okay.
Okay.
If I issue 500 shares and public has applied for 700 shares, then what happens?
Uh, that will be rejected.
Excess application will be rejected. But this is
Yes.
the case of what?
Uh, pro,
Over subscription.
uh, or
Mm,
Over subscription. Are you with
subscription.
me?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now understand this concept very clearly. I am allowed to issue 1000 shares. Can you tell me 1000 shares is what for me?
Authorized.
I am allowed to issue 1000 shares. 1000 share is authorized for me. I actually issue 800 shares. I actually issue 800 shares. So 800 shares is what for me? Anas, answer. I am actually issuing 800 shares. So 800 shares is what for me?
Subscribed, नहीं, authorized to
Issued capital.
Issued capital.
Okay. People actually buy 300 shares. 300
be
shares is what for me?
Subscribed capital.
Subscribed capital. Are you with me?
Yes.
What I am allowed to issue is authorized. What I actually issue is issued. What people actually buy is subscribed. Are you with me?
Yes.
So whenever there is shares, I will say these are the numbers. What is this? Number of shares. I would say into rupees 10. Can you tell me what is this rupees called? This money.
Rupees 10. That's face value of the share.
That is face
One share.
value. What is it?
Face value.
Face value is also called what?
Don't know.
Par value. What is it called?
Okay. Par value.
power.
Or it is also called what? Nominal. Okay. Now, 1000 is the number of shares, 10 is the face value. Can you tell me what will be my subscribed capital?
Subscribed capital. It's 3,000, 300 share into 10 rupees 10.
200 shares into 10, it is going to be 3000. Are you
3,000
with me?
shares. Yes.
10 is my face value. Are you with me?
Yes.
Supposingly, I call for only rupees 5.
Yes.
I call for only rupees 5. So, can you tell me my called up capital?
5.
5 into what?
5 into 10.
300 shares
300 into 5.
into 5. This will be my called up capital. What will this be?
Called up capital.
Okay, so this will become how much? 1500.
1500.
Okay. People pay me only rupees 2. I called for 5, but people pay me only rupees 2. So this will
Yes.
be my paid up capital. What will this be?
Paid up capital.
Paid up.
300 shares into 2. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Anas, can you tell me about the number of share capital that we discussed about?
First it's this one. Authorized capital.
What is authorized capital?
Subscribed capital.
What is authorized capital?
Authorized capital is maximum shares this company allowed to.
Okay, then
Then we have issued capital.
hmm,
Company. How many shares have company issued?
okay,
And subscribed capital.
okay. What is
Then
subscribed
we
capital?
have how many, how much shares people have subscribed.
Okay, people have bought. Then
Yeah.
subscribed capital is divided into two parts. What are two parts?
Subscribed and fully paid. Subscribed.
Subscribed and
Subscribed
not
and
fully paid.
called up,
Sorry, called.
and subscribed and paid
Not
up.
called up. Paid up.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean by called up capital? What do you mean by called up capital?
Called up capital. Uh,
Subscribed and called up. You have asked people to pay.
yes, and they did not
The
pay.
amount you have asked the people to pay. Okay. The amount you have asked your shareholders to pay is called up. And what do you mean paid up capital? You asked them to pay, but they paid you only a certain part of it. Okay. Can you tell me the amount that will go to share capital? Can you tell me the amount that will go to share capital?
Ma'am, subscribed capital. Like,
Hmm? The amount that you have called up, the one that you called up will go to share capital. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. We will do it with some sums. What is reserve capital? What is reserve capital?
Uh, is it reserve capital a part of
What is reserve capital? Understand properly. Okay. Say you have people have subscribed for 300 shares and the face value is 10. You have called up only 8. How much you have called up? 8. And you have said that rupees 2 is going to be kept as a reserve. That means this rupees 2 you can call up only if the company is shutting down, it is winding up. So this has to be written in the memorandum of association. So this is that part of your uncalled capital. What I am telling, this is that part of your uncalled capital which you will not call. You will call for this money when? Only when the company is winding up. When will you call for this?
when the company is winding up?
When the company is winding up. So when I talk about reserve capital, I am repeating again. So when I talk about reserve capital, it is the portion of your uncalled capital. That means you've not yet called for this money. And you can call up this money only if the company is going to get winded up, when your company is dissolving. Are you with me? Okay.
Yes.
Then there is another concept of capital reserves. Now, when I talk about reserves, there are two types of reserve. Do you know the two types of reserves? Do you know two
To
types
the
of reserves?
capital reserve,
One reserve is called revenue reserve. What is it called?
revenue reserve.
revenue reserve.
The other reserve is called capital reserve. Revenue reserves you can freely distribute. What you can do?
We redistribute.
And capital reserves is something that you normally do not earn. One type of capital reserve is securities premium. Can you tell me, Anas, what is securities premium? Yasir, can you tell me what is securities premium?
Well, from the share capital, we are asking extra money, like for premium amount. We are selling share capital at a premium amount.
The securities premium is when your share is of rupees 10, okay, and you sell for rupees 12. So, Anas, can you tell me the amount that will go to the share capital?
Yeah, 10 multiplied by 12.
10. Share is of rupees 10.
No?
Of rupees 10 means the face value is rupees 10.
Okay.
I am selling it at rupees 12.
So you will go 12 rupees.
Sorry?
12 rupees will be
Okay. My share is
so
costing rupees 10. I am selling it at rupees 12. The cost of the share is 10. I am selling it at 12. So can you tell me the amount that will go to share capital?
10.
Okay.
10.
So the amount that will go to share capital is 10. What is the extra amount?
2.
2. This extra amount will go where?
2 will go reserve,
Share
capital reserve.
capital.
Capital reserve. What is the name of that capital reserve?
One capital reserve, right?
What is the name of that capital reserve? Securities premium. What is the name of that capital
Security
reserve?
premium.
Securities
Security
premium.
premium.
What is the name of that capital reserve?
Security
Security
premium.
premium.
Okay. So this is called what? This is called premium on issue of shares. What is it called? What is it
Premium
called?
on issue of share.
Anas, what is it called?
Securities premium.
What is securities premium?
हम
Premium
वही है
on issue of
of
shares. What is
premium on issue
security
of share.
premium?
Premium on issue of share.
Okay. If I have shares of rupees 15, okay, and I sell it for rupees 18, can you tell me amount that will go to share capital?
15.
Anas?
15.
Okay. Anas, can you tell me the amount that will go to share premium?
Premium will go 5.
Hmm?
3.
3.
Yes.
So share capital will be credited by how much?
15.
15.
Share premium will be credited by how much?
3.
3. What will be debited?
Well, uh,
Bank.
share. Sorry, bank.
What will be debited?
Time.
By how
Bank.
much?
18.
18. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's do it with another example. Okay. Let's do it with one
Okay.
another example. Okay. Say for example, I have shares of rupees. I have shares of rupees. Just give me a minute. I have shares of rupees 20 and I issue it at 28. Can you tell me the amount that will go to share capital?
Share capital 20.
20. Premium
Amount
is
that
8.
will go to share premium?
8.
8.
And you'll give me the journal entry.
Bank account
General
debited
bank debit
28.
to
Share capital and securities premium.
Bank debit how much?
Bank 28.
How much?
28.
Okay, share capital how much? I cannot see your video.
20.
Share premium how much?
8.
8. Okay, fine. So I'm talking about minimum subscription. What are we talking about?
minimum
Minimum
subscription.
subscription.
Okay. Do you know every company has a prospectus?
Prospectus.
Do you know every company has a prospectus? Prospectus is basically a document that tells us about the company. Are you with me? So
Yes.
every company has a prospectus And in that prospectus, they will write about their authorized share capital and they will write about the issued share capital. Are you with me? Suppose I have a company
Yes.
and my company has an authorized share capital of 1000 shares and I have issued 300 shares. So in my prospectus, I will also mention one clause and I would say that these shares will be issued if I have a minimum subscription of 90%. And this 90% is as per SEBI guidelines. So when I say that I am issuing 300 shares and I receive application of only 5 people, so can I still raise my capital or I will have to refund the application? And then
Refund the
answer my
applications.
question. SEBI tells that whatever you issue, at least 90% of it must get subscribed. That means people should be willing to buy. So if I issue 300 shares, at least 270 should be sold off. 270 shares is called what?
270
Subscribe capital.
minimum subscribed.
270 shares is called the minimum subscription, that at least 270 shares should be sold off. If 270 shares are not sold off, then what happens?
Everything will
All
be
the share will
cancelled,
be refunded.
You will have to
refunded.
refund all shares. Okay.
Yes.
So there might be a minimum time frame during which you should get the minimum subscription. So they say whenever I issue shares, okay, whenever, Anas, please be careful, understand properly.
Yes.
Whenever I will issue shares, I should get minimum subscription within how many days? Within 120 days. I want you all to write this along with me. So they say that whenever I issue the prospectus, what am I telling? Whenever I
To the
issue
pro.
shares, whenever I issue shares,
Mhm.
minimum subscription should be reached when? Within how many
120 days.
days?
120 days.
One
The minimum subscription the company should get within how many days? Yasir,
121
write
days.
this in your notes that you make for table.
Okay.
The minimum subscription the company should get within how many days?
121
Within
days.
120 days. 120 days from when? 120 days from date of issue of prospectus. Okay.
Yes.
And if you don't receive minimum subscription, what will happen?
Then we'll refund the shares.
We will refund the
Then
shares. So you should get the minimum subscription within 120 days. If you receive the minimum subscription, then you can proceed for allotment. What do you mean by that?
We can go to the next step
You can
of
go to
giving
the next
allotment.
step. If you do not
yes,
receive minimum subscription, then what?
We'll refund the
will
shares.
refund it.
Will refund the application. I hope are you all are with me.
Yeah.
I hope you are with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So this is with regards to the minimum subscription and all. Now I want you to go through these questions. These are MCQs and there are 19 MCQs. Okay. From 11 to 18, there are questions which is come in the past year paper. So I want you to answer that in full. I will wait for you all and I'm giving you 12 minutes to do this. Okay?
Okay.
After that, I will come back and discuss and I will ask you the reason for your answer. So just don't do it like that. Let's do the MCQ related to the basics, which is come in the specimen paper and pasture. Read this question, Yasir.
Yes. Assertion: a company is registered with an authorized capital of 5 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each, of which 2 lakh equity shares were issued and subscribed. All the money had been called up except 2 rupees per share, which has declared as reserve capital. The share capital reflected in the balance sheet as subscribed and fully paid will be zero. Uh, Reason: reserve capital can be called up only at times of winding up of the company.
Okay, first tell me, is the reason correct? Yeah?
Yes, reason is correct.
Okay, the
Yes, ma'am.
reason is correct. Explanation for the reason is also correct.
Company was registered with current capital.
Reserve capital can be
Yes,
called up
yes,
only at the time of winding up of the company. So I could say the explanation of the reserve is also correct or no?
yes, sir.
Anas, do you
Yes, ma'am.
agree? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The
I agree.
reason is true. So I will look for options where the reasons are true. So option 4 is nullified.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the assertion. Registered capital, authorized capital is how many shares?
500.
Issued shares
five.
is how much?
Issued share is 200K.
Issued share is 200K. Okay. All the money has been called up.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Only rupees 2 is kept for reserve capital.
yes.
So can you all tell me the amount of money that will be reflected in the balance sheet is how much? For subscribed and fully paid up. It will be zero, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It will not actually be zero. There is nothing that is going to be pending to be received. Okay. Nothing is that to be pending to be received. So the amount of money that will be shown in the share capital will be 200 shares into 10. Subscribed and fully paid up. This
Okay.
is wrong. Let's go ahead to the next one. I'm reading the question. I will ask you for the answer. The
Okay.
part of authorized share capital which is issued to the public is called what?
Issued
Issued
capital.
capital.
Very good. This is the 2023 paper. Portion of called up capital which is actually received is called what?
Uh, per- issued
Called
I
up
no.
have
capital.
called up for the money.
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose the share is for 10.
Issued capital. Yes.
I have called up how much? I have called up 5. What they
Okay.
pay me, what they
Fine.
pay me is what? If they pay me 3, so 3 will be paid up.
Yes.
2 will be calls in arrears. So what I call up is called up capital. What they
Okay.
actually pay me is called paid up. And what they don't pay me is calls in arrears.
Okay.
So suppose I
It's
have
paid up.
called up 5, but what I actually receive from the shareholders is called what?
Paid up.
Anas, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
If I've called
Yes.
up 5, 5 will be called up. What I actually receive is paid up.
Yes.
What I don't receive is
Uh,
calls in
call in
arrears.
arrears.
False in
What I
areas.
don't receive is calls in arrears. Are you with me?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Face value of the share is 10. What I called up is called up. What I don't call is uncalled.
Calls
What I
in
don't
arrears.
call is
Okay.
uncalled.
Uncalled.
Come on, this question. Part of uncalled capital that can be called at the time of winding up of the company. Anas,
Yes.
uncalled capital that you can call up at the time of winding up.
Um, Reserve capital.
Very good. Nominal share capital is what?
Nominal share capital is I don't know.
Nominal share capital is also called authorized share capital.
The maximum amount of share capital which a company is authorized to issue.
Part of authorized share capital which is issued by the company. Issued capital is called issued only. So this is wrong.
Yes.
Amount of capital which is applied for. The shares which people apply for is called which capital?
Now, apply for share capital. No, no.
The amount for which people
Issued
apply
capital.
is called which capital?
Issued capital.
Anas, answer rather than yawning and think. The amount of shares that people apply for is called what?
Subscribed capital.
Okay, that is called subscribe capital.
Right? Subscribe.
Maximum amount of shares that the company can issue during its lifetime is called what?
Authorized capital.
Authorized.
Authorized. And authorized share capital is also called registered
Nominal.
share capital. It is also called a nominal share capital.
Okay.
The amount that
Yes.
the shareholders actually pay to us is called what?
Paid up.
Paid up share capital. What is it?
Paid up. Paid up.
Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. So the answer for this one is this one, na? C.
Yes.
Come on, sixth one. The company has to get minimum subscription within how many days from the date of issue of prospectus?
120 days.
Within
120 days.
120 days. So I think option A will be the correct one.
Yes.
When minimum subscription has been received, the directors proceed to make, once you receive,
Allotment of share.
the
Allotment of share.
directors will proceed to make allotment. If you don't receive minimum subscription, then what will you do?
Refund.
Refund the application. Next, uncalled
Uncalled.
capital is that portion of which capital?
Hmm.
Okay, so first we have which
Subscribe.
capital?
Subscribe, right?
Anas,
Authorized.
uncalled
Authorized.
capital is that portion of subscribed capital. Very good. So first we have the authorized share capital.
Yes.
Part of authorized is issued.
Yes.
Part of issued is subscribed.
Okay.
Part of subscribed is called up and uncalled.
Okay.
Okay. Part
Okay.
of called up is paid up.
Okay.
I hope you know this.
Okay.
Yasir, put this in your notes. Okay. So uncalled
Okay.
capital is portion of what?
Uncalled portion of reserve capital, right?
Uncalled capital is the portion of subscribed, right?
Subscribe, sorry, subscribe.
Uncalled capital is a portion of subscribed. Anas, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes. No.
So it is a portion of subscribed which has not yet been called up. And the portion of such uncalled capital is called only in the event of winding up of the company is called what?
Reserve capital.
Reserve capital.
Reserve.
So the capital, reserve capital is a part of uncalled.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Can authorized share capital be less than issued?
No. How?
No, not possible.
No.
Authorized capital can be more than issued. It has to be more or equal to issued. This statement
Yes,
is
ma'am.
correct.
Correct. Yes.
Can subscribed capital can be less than or equal to issue?
Swap capital is less to.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It can be.
It can be less than issued or it can be equal to issue. So this statement is correct.
Mm,
Can subscribed capital
Swap.
be more than issued?
No.
No.
No. So which statement is correct?
Two
Second
and
and
three.
third. See,
Option
both A,
number,
second.
option
Option
C.
number C.
Reserve capital is not a part of,
Unsubscribed or unsubscribed capital.
sorry,
Reserve capital is not a part of.
unsubscribed capital.
How?
It is a part of subscribed capital. So it is not a part of unsubscribed capital.
Yes.
What is subscribed capital?
It is
See, it is a part of authorized capital which is issued to the public. Which capital is this?
this is
Authorized capital,
subscribed
which is
capital.
Which capital is
No, no.
this?
This is issued capital. Issued.
issued capital.
Issued
Issued.
capital. Part of issued capital which has actually been subscribed. Which capital?
Subscribed capital.
Subscribed. B is the correct thing.
Okay. Part of subscribed capital which has been called up. Which capital?
Part
Mm,
of.
Called
Part
up
of
capital?
subscribed.
Called up capital.
Not called up
Part of
capital.
subscribed capital which has not yet been called up.
Not called up.
Uncalled. Okay.
Yes.
What is meant by issued capital? I want you to
What is
write these answers and send me photograph. 11
okay, ma'am.
to 14. First, let's discuss. Part of subscribed capital which has not yet been called is known as,
A reserve capital, right?
which has not yet been called.
Oh yeah, not called. No, not called up capital.
Reserve capital, it is correct. Reserve capital, or you can also say it is also called the uncalled capital.
Uncalled. Yes.
Because the appropriate meaning for reserve capital is although it is uncalled, it is called up at the time of winding up of the company.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Come on, what is meant by issued capital? Anas, answer. What is meant by issued capital?
Capital that is issued to public.
Okay. So it is a part of which capital?
Authorized capital.
Which has been issued to the public.
To public. Right.
Okay. What is meant by reserve capital?
It should be called up on winding up of business.
But how will you write it if it's for 2 marks?
Part
It
of
is
Part
capital.
of
that
capital
part of subscribed capital
which has not been called up.
which is not being called up and will be called
Only on
At
winding
the
of business.
Only
Winding
at
up
the
the
time of winding up of the company.
It's
Is
called
reserve
reserve capital.
capital a part of unsubscribed capital or uncalled capital?
Uncalled.
Hmm?
Uncalled.
It is a part of
It's
uncalled capital. What is the difference between issued share capital and subscribed share capital?
there's a lot of difference. I don't know.
Tell me.
issued and subscribed. Issued means like the capital which has been issued to the people, and subscribed means the people, the public has subscribed to
So
the
I will,
issued
how will
capital.
I say? Issued share capital is a part of authorized share capital which has
Hmm.
actually been
Okay.
offered to the public. Yes.
Yes.
What is subscribed share capital?
Subscribed. Uh,
It means
the capital which has been subscribed by the
Is a
public.
part of issued share capital which has actually been subscribed by the public.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go
CBSE
ahead.
hold
Read this question, Anas.
D Limited invited application for issuing 10 lakhs equity shares of 10 rupees each.
Okay, stop.
The
Which type of capital is this?
equity shares
Which type of capital?
Uh,
subscribed
Issued,
issued.
subscribed.
issued
This is issued. How much is subscribed share capital?
Not given.
Yes.
subs,
The public applied for 855.
So how much is
855.
subscribed share capital?
855.
855.
855.
Can you proceed with the allotment?
Right.
Yes.
When can you proceed with allotment?
If they got 90% of
You should have minimum 90%. Minimum
no,
Yes.
they can't go. They
minimum
can't.
90% should be the subscription. So
They can't.
90% of 10 lakh shares is how much?
900,000.
900,000.
It is 900,000. So this should be the minimum subscription. But
Yes.
subscribed share capital is how much?
855.
855,000 shares. So the company has not received the minimum subscription. That is
Yes.
90% of the issued share capital.
Okay.
So as per SEBI guidelines, they cannot proceed
Issue
with
share.
allotment. Issue they
Yeah,
have
they can't.
already done, but they cannot allot the shares.
This is
Yeah.
different.
What do you mean by paid up share capital? The answer is given to you. I want you to write it, okay, after I complete the lecture.
Okay.
What is meant by paid up capital? It is that
Paid up
part of called up capital. It is a part of which capital?
called up capital.
For which the shareholders have already paid.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go. What is authorized share capital? Yasir, answer.
Authorized share capital is the capital which authorized share capital is the capital, uh,
Maximum amount which
maximum
company can
amount
issue.
of company can issue share.
Maximum number of shares which the company can issue during its lifetime. It is also
Yes.
called the registered share capital or the
Nominal.
nominal capital.
Yes.
What is meant by a share? Give two difference between preference and equity share.
And preference का मतलब preference means
Share means a share in the capital of the company. This is the definition that is given by the Companies Act. You need to learn this.
okay.
Share is a share in the capital of the company. That means you are being a part, you are sharing the capital, which is according to section 284, subsection 84. What do I say? Share is a share
Share.
in the capital of the company. Now, they want two difference between equity shares and preference shares. Preference shares are given a fixed rate of dividend. Okay? Preference shares are
Yes.
given a fixed rate of dividend. Equity shares are given varying
No,
dividend. Which dividend?
very, very.
Very.
Varying dividend. Okay? Preference shares can be paid back. When I say they can be paid back, that means preference shares can be redeemed.
Yeah.
Equity shares cannot be redeemed. Except when you have a scheme of reducing capital, at that time this happens. You
Uh,
need to learn this. Okay, I need answers of all theory to be given to me in the next half an hour. So I complete topic 1 and this is over.